A very good morning to each and every one of you. Today, we'll be dealing with pollution and pollutants, the first important part of environmental impact assessment as per CE 469 Module 1 KTU syllabus. Anything, anywhere in the undesirable concentration creates pollution. Anything, anywhere, in the wrong concentration, in the wrong time, creates pollution. And the particular matter or the particular energy that becomes a pollutant creates pollution when it is in the undesirable concentration. So when we define pollutant and pollution, there is this interrelation. That is, a pollutant is anything in the atmosphere or anything in the environment. Rather, anything in the environment in the undesirable concentration is termed as pollutant. And pollution is any pollutant, or pollution is something that is created when pollutant is in the undesirable concentration in the wrong place or undesirable area in the environment. We can say that any pollutant in the undesirable concentration in the undesirable area in the environment is called pollution. I repeat, a pollutant is anything in the undesirable concentration anywhere in the environment, and pollution is any pollutant in the undesirable concentration in the undesirable area. Now, there are many reasons for pollution. One of them is increased population, rapid industrialization, urbanization, deforestation, over-exploitation of natural resources. Now, all these processes, all these things or all these factors have increased the interaction of men or human beings with environment, and there are many processes that have generated due to rapid industrialization, increased population, urbanization, deforestation, new exploitation of natural resources. All these things have created or increased or enumerated the number of processes that are being occurring in the day-to-day life of people. Now, due to these processes, a lot of effluents as energy, a lot of effluents as gas, a lot of effluents as in the liquid form, a lot of effluents in the solid form, etc. are released into the environment continuously and uninterruptedly. So, all these processes due to man-made activities, due to activities of human beings, machines, industries, etc. are always creating a lot of effluents like these. Now, I would like to attract your concentration to the term threshold concentration. First and foremost, we have to understand that threshold concentration is the optimal concentration above which the presence of a pollutant will make pollution, and below which the presence of the pollution or the concentration of the pollutant, if it is below the threshold concentration, it doesn't create pollution. So that is the first and foremost particular thing that you have to consider while explaining or understanding pollution. If a pollutant is above the threshold concentration, it will definitely create pollution. And if the pollutant is below the threshold concentration, it will not create pollution, but the presence of the pollutant is there. So I hope you understood the difference between the presence of a pollutant and the presence of the pollution or the creation of pollution. Now, when we think of pollution, pollution is definitely affecting the environment. Pollution creates impacts upon the environment. Now, first and foremost, we have to understand that there are only three areas that pollution can affect mainly. That is, the impacts can be created only upon air, water, and land. As the Pancha Bhutas, we say that the universe is made up of air, water, land, sky, and fire. Out of this, we omitted two of them, that were fire and sky. But again, fire stands because the form of energy in the form, the pollution also exists in the form of energy, like radioactive pollution, heat energy pollution, thermal pollution, likewise. So we now move on to pollutants, or the study of pollutants in detail. Now, anything living or non-living, or any physical agent like heat or sound, etc., if in excess of the threshold concentration in the environment that makes the part of the environment undesirable, is known as a pollutant. Or you can define pollutant as any matter or agent which is in the wrong concentration, at the wrong place, at the wrong time. So this is a definition of pollutant. Now, there are many types of pollutants. Pollutants are classified based on ecosystem as classification number 1, and they are classified as classification number 2 based on agents who cause pollution. So based on agents and based on ecosystem, there are two kinds of classifications for pollutants. Now we will see classification 1. In classification 1, in terms of ecosystem, they are classified as non-degradable pollutants and degradable pollutants. Before that, we will see what an ecosystem is. An ecosystem is a system in the environment which has some interrelation between each other. That's ecosystem, and it's a closed one. It has a closed, well-defined boundary, and it wise, if you speak, the grass. The grass is, for example, you consider a meadow. Meadow means it's a ground with fresh grass. Now, this kind of grasses or grass are food for grasshoppers, and again grasshoppers are food for frog, and frog is food for snake, and snake is food for eagle. So all these kinds of food chains and all these kinds of interrelations that exist at a particular place, or at a particular or at a particular system, that are interrelated in the environment, creates ecosystem, or it's termed as ecosystem. Now, when we deal with non-degradable pollutants, as I told you, classification number 1, types of pollutants is divides in terms of ecosystem the pollutants into non-degradable pollutants and degradable pollutants. Now, when we come to non-degradable pollutants, these pollutants are not actually degraded biologically. Now, how will you understand biological degradation? Now, degradation actually, it is breaking down of complex molecules into simpler molecules by reactions. But when microbes take the job of degradation, that when microbes are able to break down the complex molecules into simpler ones, they are degradable pollutants. And when microbes cannot break them down by natural processes, they are non-degradable pollutants. That is, you can treat those pollutants chemically by some other means, synthetic means, but this one is not possible to be broken down by microbes, so they are non-degradable pollutants. Now, non-degradable pollutants are of two categories, that is waste and poison. The usual waste particles that we find out, example glass, plastic, aluminum can, etc., are one category, and there are something known as poison. Now, poison actually comes like what you call pesticides. They are poisons. Then radioactive substances. Radioactive substances will affect the decay, will generate energy, and that energy is dangerous to human bodies. So, they have a natural decaying period, but their existence gets prolonged because of the half-life period nature, where only half of the material will be degraded during its half-life period. Again, it will exist a long period, over a long period. So all these things come under poison. Again, smoke gases. Now, what is smoke? S-M-O-G, smoke. Smoke is something known as, it's basically hydrocarbon. Hydrocarbon undergoing photochemical reaction, that is, chemical reactions that are triggered by the light presence of light, especially sunlight. In the presence of sunlight, when hydrocarbons undergo chemical reactions, smog is created, and smog looks definitely like smoke because it will interrupt the eye, vision, etc. And they are dangerous and poisonous. They are unhealthy to be breathed in. Now we'll come to degradable pollutants. Now degradable pollutants, we have what you call organic substances or natural organic substances which decay naturally are known as degradable pollutants. Now the action of microbes will definitely break down complex molecules to simpler molecules by and it will definitely the pollutants are in the degradable form. But if pollutants can be brought down, if microbes are able to bring down the concentration of the pollutants below threshold concentration or acceptable level, then it is not a pollutant. But even though if microbes are not able to bring down the threshold concentration, bring the concentration of the pollutant below the threshold concentration, then it becomes a pollutant. Now there are microbes that decay fecal matter are rapidly degradable. So there is a categorization in degradable pollutants as rapidly degradable and slowly degradable. Now under rapidly degradable, we have decomposition of sewage, animal waste or fecal matter. The rate of decomposition is very high. And under slowly degradable pollutants, we have synthetic compounds, because those compounds should be acted out. They are very complex molecules and the degradation is much slower. Now comes classification number 2, based on agents who cause pollutants. As you know, we have solid phase, we have liquid phase, we have gaseous phase and something in the energy phase. So there are only 4 agents or 4 phases so for pollutants. So based on that, pollution caused by solid waste, pollution caused by liquid waste, pollution caused by gaseous waste, pollution caused by waste without weight. So for example, we have radioactive pollution under that. Now when we speak of solid waste, we have a lot of examples like demolition waste, construction waste, dead animals, agricultural waste, domestic and industrial waste, etc. Now when we think of liquid waste, the aquatic system have an oxygen cycle which we have to understand. Now oxygen gets dissolved into water due to pressure of atmospheric column above. That is a natural process. Now for respiration, dissolved oxygen is consumed also. For respiration, for aquatic life, within the water or within water, the dissolved oxygen is getting consumed and they release carbon dioxide, and this carbon dioxide is used by green plants and algae for photosynthesis. Now there is an interrelationship like ecosystem. Now during photosynthesis, what happens is that oxygen is again liberated into water as DO. So this is a mutual interrelation. That is, aquatic organisms require oxygen and that oxygen is taken from the dissolved oxygen, and during their respiration they use this oxygen and release carbon dioxide. Now this carbon dioxide is taken by aquatic plants. Aquatic plants make use of this carbon dioxide and they release they use carbon dioxide and they release oxygen. So there is now you have understood the relation. Now when waste reaches water, food reaches microbes and they utilize dissolved oxygen to break complex molecules to simpler molecules. So there is a oxidation process and a deoxidation process. Now when deoxidation process, what is deoxidation process? Deoxidation process is the the respiration process. The deoxidation process is the respiration process of organisms. So, and the oxidation process is the photosynthesis that is happening where carbon dioxide is taken in and oxygen is released. So the deoxidation process and oxidation process, if they are in balance, then no problem. When deoxidation process exceeds oxidation process, there will be depletion of dissolved oxygen, and hence aquatic processes that require dissolved oxygen gets affected and microbes may die. So this is one of the factors that creates that is happening in water bodies, and the most important source of organic pollutant is sewage. We call it a pollutant because if it is above a threshold concentration, the number of the microbes, the amount of dissolved oxygen will get depleted because microbes use this a lot for converting the pollutant into simpler molecules. So the strength of organic waste material of sewage is measured in terms of biochemical oxygen demand or BOD. This is a factor that civil engineers learn, particularly under environmental engineering, and now I am not going to deal with it. Next is pollution caused by gaseous waste. Carbon monoxide, sulfur dioxide, nitrogen dioxide, ozone, smoke gases, etc. are examples for pollution created by gaseous pollutants. Now last, we have pollution from waste without waste. That is pollution by energy waste. So energy from radioactive energy, heat energy, noise, etc. will create pollution in this respect. Now, a radioactive substance is a substance that has something known as half-life period, and during that particular period, it will decay into half of its original mass. Now, despite of all possible precautions for functioning and maintenance of nuclear reactors, a minute quantity of radioactive waste escapes into the environment. That is, whatever thing we do, whatever care we take, there are three phases for our radioactive substances to be used for energy production. That is mining phase. Next is the process phase. Next is the waste disposal phase. So in all these three phases, somehow radioactive will escape from into the environment due to decay. Now, besides all these things, during test and a lot of during test nuclear test. During nuclear tests, a lot of radioactive material reach the environment. Now, if it is heat, the hot gases or the hot liquid emitted or released into the environment by industries are the source. If we speak of noise, the machines, public address systems, traffic, transistor, industries, etc. create unwanted sound. And noise is nothing but unwanted sound. Now with these pollutants, we have covered pollutants. Almost the area of pollutants have been covered. Next is pollution. Now whatever is caused by pollutants is pollution. But classification based on the environment, that is a classification of pollution based on environment, we have air, water and soil pollution. And we have another type of classification based on type of pollutants like lead, mercury, carbon dioxide, solid waste, noise, biocide, heat, etc. Sometimes they are classified based on natural and artificial pollution. Now, natural pollution is from natural processes, and artificial pollution is by interaction between humanity and the environment. Now we have something known as general classification. Generally, they are classified as air pollution. Pollution is classified as air pollution, water pollution. As you know, it's the aquatic system is getting polluted. Terrestrial pollution, that is land pollution, noise pollution, radioactive pollution, thermal pollution, and industrial pollution. Now there are some general effects for pollution. Now these kinds of pollution, air, water, terrestrial, noise pollution, radioactive, thermal, all these things you will be learning in detail in the following modules. So now it's just an understanding how that is going to go, that is happening, what all kinds of pollution are there, what are pollutant, what is pollution. So all these things are a base to the things that will follow later. Again, general effects of pollution. This is also generally I was speaking towards the minute extent, and towards the detailed extent you will be learning it in the coming modules. So general effects of pollution, that is each and every component of environment is influenced by pollution in a number of ways, as you know, and there is the impact of pollution on some biotic and abiotic components shall be discussed now. Now the effect on plants. Effect on plants, first and foremost effect is photochemical smoke that will affect plants, because plants that are exposed to photochemical smoke, that is first I told you earlier that photochemical smoke is light plus the reaction between light and hydrocarbons will create something like smoke, and that will create problems to the surface of the leaves of plants, and that will affect photosynthesis. So sulfur dioxide and hydrogen fluoride causes injury to plants. Now the gases like sulfur dioxide and hydrogen fluoride causes injury to plants and creates growth reduction and reduction in vegetation also. It will affect vegetation also. Again, it will retard growth rate of plants and the growth rate of vegetation. Now towards effect on animals, effect of pollution on animals, air pollutants will definitely affect eye, because you are exposed, if you are a person, if you are exposed to pollution or smoke, just think that you are exposed to smoke. First and foremost, it will affect your eyes. The exterior delicate portion in your body is eyes, and it will affect your eye. Then the air you breathe in will be polluted. Then it will create respiratory problems for animals and human beings. It will affect your eyes. Then it will affect your skin. Skin is exposed to the air around it, and if it is completely polluted with smoke, the reactions will create skin irritations. Again, water pollutants, it will affect aquatic life. Then it will kill fishes, it will kill animals in the water. Again, sewage and toxic materials makes water unfit for drinking for man and animal. Again, thermal pollution. Thermal pollution is the increase of temperature of water. Thermal pollution is the increase of temperature of water from the effluents coming from industries and all those factories and workshops, and this can kill aquatic life because they have an optimum temperature for survival, and if it is above that, it will affect them. Again, pesticide pollution, it will affect reproduction in organisms, it will affect reproduction in plants and animals also. Pesticides. Again, finally, we come to human beings, and the direct effect and indirect effects are there upon human beings due to pollution, and high levels of pollutants are always toxic depending on the sensitiveness of persons, and depending upon the sensitiveness, the impact may vary, and many diseases that we see today in man are because of aquatic pollution, or they are waterborne diseases. Now, last but not the least, I would like to add something as an effect on materials. That is, deterioration of materials also happen. As civil engineers, you have to be careful upon pollution, not only for human beings, not only for plants, not only for animals, but also for buildings also. Because deterioration of materials and construction are created by these pollutants, especially when there is an acid rain, or an acid rain is created by the acidic. If air pollutants like sulfur dioxide, or the sulfur dioxide in the presence of moisture in the atmosphere, or in the atmosphere, if moisture is there, sulfur dioxide gas is also, they too will react to form H2SO4, that is sulfuric acid, and the concentration will be very weak, but when there is a rain, or it will mingle with the water droplets, and it will reach the earth, and on the way it will reach the buildings, and reactions will occur. And earlier Taj Mahal was also affected by acid rain. And water pollutant like suspended particles or dissolved inorganic compounds will affect, because of the suspended particles, it will affect pumps. Underwater pumps are there, the pumps that function above water, where they suck the liquid from the water, and when it functions, suspended particles will hamper the blades and the parts of the pump and other industrial equipments also. Again, it will also affect the foundation bridges. The bridges will be above, but the foundation of bridges will be within the water, and the pillars also will be within the water, and reaction of chemical reaction between the polluted water and the bridge foundation will create problems, or the bridge beams will be problem, or the supports there will be problem. And last but not the least, I would like to say that the noise pollution are also created by supersonic aircrafts because they create sonic booms, which are vibrations of the sound, and the vibration of the sound will even break the glasses of buildings. So, so far we have seen the portion of pollution and pollutants of CE 469 module 1. We will see the rest of the portion in the coming classes. Thank you very much.